all of us talked a lot last year about Israel, and this time last year we were like, okay, Iran's going to get a bomb. How's this going to go? And there's what's going to happen in the Middle East. In the last 6 months, the Middle East has gone through a radical transformation, a power shift. And Dr. Mark Hitchcock made some observations. And again, I just want you two to see this, and I want you to respond to this with this shift of power and what that looks like and what 2025 may look like here in the next 3 or 4 months. Watch this.
Barring some very unusual event, I believe 2025 will be a year of increased strength and momentum for Israel. The enemies of Israel are all on the run. And this is unlike anything in Israel's modern history. Iran's far-reaching tentacles have been cut. Iran is isolated and desperate, and Israel now is emboldened and energized. And emboldened Israel may even do what they've wanted to do for many years, that is knock out Iran's nuclear sites. CNN has a headline that says, Israel strikes Syria 480 times and seizes territory as Netanyahu pledges to change the face of the Middle East. The collapse of the Assad regime has allowed Israel to go in and hit Syria, again at the time when I'm making this video, 480 times. They're knocking out strategic weapons stockpiles, places where they believe chemical weapons are, destroying air assets. And Benjamin Netanyahu has called this a dramatic new chapter. He said the collapse of the Syrian regime is a direct result of the severe blows we struck Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran. He says the axis has not yet disappeared, but as I promised, we're changing the face of the Middle East. And I believe this stunning change will continue. The Times of Israel has a headline that says the IDF sees chance for strikes on Iran nuclear sites after knocking out Syria air defenses.
Well, Israel now has an open airway all the way to Iran and to be able to just deal with the nuclear threat. Do you guys think that's going to happen soon? Do you think, and how does that tie to Turkey? Because now Turkey is really taking more a dominant role, and then how does that tie to Ezekiel 38? So
I think this is one of the main reasons Donald Trump won this election, is because he's going to allow this to happen. He won't stand in the way of Israel doing what she has to do. Mark my words, he won't stand in the way. And this will happen. And the enemies may be on the run, but you know what? The enemies of Israel are going to come back because they're going to be taken out in Gog and Magog in some end-time battles. But they are on the run right now.
Well, Iran's trying to cut a deal right now. Hey, we'll let you guys come in and see all our nuclear stuff. It's going to be okay. We'll be friends. Yeah. I think it's too late, boys.
Yeah, it is. I think one of the things we have to see is the big regime change with the Assad regime changing, and now we have ISIS, or really Al-Qaeda guys running Syria, and they to quote them, they use the word, we're going to be a more inclusive jihadists.
As we kill Christians and
I mean,
try and kill the Jews off,
quote unquote. That's what the guy said, and you're like, oh yeah, you're a jihadist. And so Israel obviously is taking more of the buffer zone there in the Golan Heights, and they're realizing that they got another problem up there in the north, because this guy's pretending to be, no, we're ISIS 2.0, we're more moderate. He's not. They're already persecuting Christians. They're already persecuting churches. They're already sending the purity police throughout the towns because of Islam. They're already doing that. So they're hardcore. They're not moderates. They're hardcore. So Israel's going to have to deal with them in the north. Here's the problem, though, that has been happening. Israel has not been able to be supplied properly because the Biden administration has been slow walking all their armaments, especially the bunker busters, for the last 4 years. Now Trump is going to allow them to have anything they want. And Trump's attitude about it is, just get the deal done. Just go and do it. Okay. The thing about it is, we hope that the deep state in Israel doesn't undermine Netanyahu and Trump, and the deep state here doesn't undermine in what they're doing. So let me explain this. Netanyahu's got a problem on his hands, and it's his staff level generals of the IDF. And the lower ranks of the IDF are about fit to be tied with Harlevy and the other ones that are just crazy leftist part of the deep state in Israel. And you know this has been going on, try to oust Netanyahu for a long, long time because of the deep state not liking him. Their leftist policies are what got Israel attacked, okay? These generals that are there ignored warnings big time from the October 7th thing. Okay, so what needs to happen in Israel is those generals either need to resign or Trump and Netanyahu need to do something about them because they are undermining the IDF. The second thing that needs to happen with Israel is they have to start producing their own munitions. Guys, we know what's happening. The reservists don't have hardly anything. The active soldiers have everything. Here's the problem. If they do not start creating their own weapons, and they stay dependent on us, which is great because Trump's in, okay? But that will only be for as long as Trump is in. Let's say the scenario Trump gets assassinated year 2. Guess what happens? They are still stuck not being able to produce their own weapons. That is a major problem in the Middle East. We are hoping and praying that Israel does not say, we can rest now. Trump's here. He'll give us all the supplies. No. Take this reprieve and start making your weapons. Dude, it was down to them not even having the right bullets, guys. That's how bad they were dependent on us. So it takes one regime change in America, and all of a sudden Israel doesn't have their weapons. So Israel has to start doing that. And by the way, like Victor Davis Hanson who has said, Caroline Glick has said, you have to take out the snake, the head of the snake. It's Iran. Yeah. If you do not deal with Iran and the Ayatollahs and take them out, you are not going to solve the problem. I hope Netanyahu, I hope Trump gives full backing to go after Iran and get rid of the Ayatollahs. They have to get rid of the Ayatollahs. They're the problems. The rest of the Iranian people don't even want them. There's an undercurrent of Christians in Iran right now, and even just secular Iranians that say, we're done with the Ayatollahs. So, that being the case, those things need to happen. And if they don't, it's more problems for Israel and more problems in the north. But thank God for Trump being in here, because Biden, he was killing Israel, absolutely killing him and Blinken. Awful what they were doing to Israel. So anyway, pray for Israel.
You're on your way to Israel.
We're going next week. Yeah.
What's the purpose?
We're meeting with our IDF units that we support. We support certain IDF units, and we provide protective gear, stuff you thought they would have. And we find out the reservists don't have helmets, or at least their helmets are 30 years old. They don't have the bulletproof vests, the flak jackets. They don't have knee pads. They just have protective gear. And then, like, you weighed in on it, and you helped buy them a drone. We're buying drones for them. And those drones can go into areas, and you don't have to send an Israeli soldier in there. You just send the drone in there. The drone locates the enemy with a thermal, and then the Israeli soldiers rain down fire where that enemy combatant is. It's a beautiful way of doing war, because you don't put Israeli soldiers in jeopardy. But they cost $10,000 a pop, and they don't last very long because you send them in. They locate the enemy, and then they get killed, not killed, but destroyed in the gunfire, or the enemy combatant goes after them, so they don't last very long. So we're in a steady supply of drones to help them in that.
How can they support this?
Just go to our website, rockharborchurch.net, go to the giving tab, go to Bless Israel, and just give there, and that money goes to that and to help them. And here's the thing, it's not just simply we're providing protective gear, which is great. We're using the Messianic believers on the ground through other organizations like Netiva and other organizations that used Messianic believers in that IDF unit to witness to the secular Jewish people, or even the religious, saying, why are these Christians getting us protective gear? And the Messianic believer says, this is why. It's because of Yeshua. It's because they love you. And they're like, why do you love us? Oh, everybody in the world hates us. Not this group. And it sparks the conversation. It starts planting seeds. And one of the hostage rescuers, it's this close to coming to faith in the Lord. He's this close because he's dumbfounded why any Gentiles would want to help him. He's dumbfounded by it. And we call him it's because of Yeshua. So it's leading them to the Lord. It's getting them closer to him, that's for sure.
And then this idea of parents hear that, followers of Jesus have provided these assets for their kids who are engaged in these battles. And it's like, who are these people, And it is opening a lot of doors. Thank you both of you for loving Jesus and seizing the moment in this day. But it's not just Israel that needs to make arms. Quite honestly, America needs to start making its own bullets again.
Yeah.
The EPA was weaponized during the Obama administration to destroy the manufacturing of lead, which is required to make bullets here. And then you look at all of the strategic things that we need, it's all outsourced. And it's horrible. So